Hello, hello, hello. It's been a couple of weeks since we last heard from Winski. I'm anxious to hear what he has to say. I have to apologize for the somewhat tinny quality of the sound, but the program I've been using to record him with better sound quality is giving me a hard time. So with that caveat, Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I was scheduled to last be on your show on September 5, but I had a medical emergency that week a few days before, so I was not able to appear. However, I did put together the notes for that appearance, including the forecast for that coming up and reviewing when I was previously on your show on August 21. If anyone would like those notes, all you have to do is send me an email in the subject line, request September 5 notes, and I'll be happy to send that to you. Moving ahead here now, we have I'm going to review what I would have said on September 5. We had a couple of big events that weekend. Now keep in mind, stocks potentially respond to all events, whereas all the other markets tend to be narrow filters and only respond to a few things. So and if you see AC, that means after the close. Now the 5th was a Friday, so we're looking at that the weekend of the 5th. So over that weekend, we had two big events. The planet Uranus in the sign of Gemini turned retrograde, and that's copper. We'll be looking at copper here in a minute or two. And we also, over that weekend, we had a total lunar eclipse. Now, lunar eclipse is a special kind of full moon, and it's kind of rare we have a total lunar eclipse. The sun, earth, and moon all lined up so perfectly that the earth, for a few minutes, totally blotted out the light of the moon, and so that's how you get a total lunar eclipse. Anyway, we're going to throw that into the category of a full moon. If we have a full moon, new moon, we look at the financials, grains, precious metals, oil, and silver. In this case, emphasize the oil and silver because the eclipse was in the sign of Pisces, and that's oil, and also because the moon is associated with silver. All right, so here's our first chart. Here's corn, had a nice pullback low there. Had a chance to make a small profit there on the long side if you bought there. Soybeans do the same thing, but a little more money there. If you bought the low there on the beans on the morning of the 8th, right after the eclipse, you had a chance to make a small profit. And wheat was going sideways. Don't do sideways. That's a yellow box. Green is good, red is bad. And so you can see there we're going sideways. So we do nothing. There is Newton's law. For every action, there's an opposite equal reaction, and the opposite sideways. It's just more sideways. And also, you really don't know. We're looking to buy weakness, sell strength. You don't know when it's sideways. You don't know whether you're buying or selling. So here's probably the best trade I'm going to show you now. Look at this. The copper's coming down, down, down. And that weekend, and I told you, Uranus turned retrograde that weekend. So that's copper. And if you bought on Monday's opening, look at that, you bought there, and then it rallied 20 cents over about a week's time, and that's a nice chunk of money, because that's $5,000. 20 cents in copper is $5,000. Okay, silver's going sideways, we do nothing. Gold is going sideways, we do nothing. Crude oil, this is all probably the second best trade. See how the oil is coming down, down, down into that weekend, and then if you bought on Monday's opening, you could have got about 3 handles for $3,000 on the crude oil over about 3 or 4 trading days. SEP chopping sideways, so we do nothing. Bonds look like had a good setup, but it didn't work out, so that's a miss. Here's the dollar popped up into our Monday morning window there for a short-term profit. And here's the score. So we only had 6 signals, 5 winners, 1 miss out of 6 for 83.33%. Now I'm going to do my little educational thing there I call off the record, where maybe some of you are familiar with the Bradley model. I do my own version of the Bradley model, where you quantify the different planetary events and then you can plot them on a graph a month in advance. This is the results for August. The blue line I drew a month in advance and then overlay the S&P 500 on top of the blue line to see if it's working on it, is a correlation. And you can see that I think that worked out pretty nice. You got, if you get a hold of me, and I'll explain these different symbols on the chart there. You got a full moon there, you got a new moon there, and so forth, and it worked out pretty nice. Now, I also do a long-term, sort of a longer-term forecast back every February. I do what's called a fractal forecast, where by taking the price action of January, I extrapolate it out for the year, and there you go. That's the blue bars you see there, and then I overlay S&P 500 on top of that, and you can see that's working out very, very well. And what I'm not showing there, but I'm going to tell you the secret. The exciting part is that this coming week, this model, I had this, done all the way through the end of the year, and this coming week, it shows a big turning point coming due in this coming week, and wait till you see how that corresponds to the planetary stuff coming up here this weekend. Okay, we're doing this over the weekend of the 19th, and here we have the 19th. Look at all that's happening. 19th AC, that's after the close, so it's over the weekend. I got 5 things this weekend, big things. I'm going to go over those in a second, plus 3 more over Monday and Tuesday. That's 8 things over a few days. So we have Mercury apogee, that's Mercury closest to the Earth. We have Saturn, apogee is farthest from the Earth. Saturn perigee closest to the Earth. That's the Mercury thing is go with grains, plus the stock market, of course. And then Saturn is coffee. And by the way, coffee a couple days ago had a huge 30-cent reversal. That's 10 grand in a day. Crazy. So any solar eclipse, we have a solar eclipse coming this weekend in the sign of Virgo. So we're going to round up the usual suspects, financials, green, precious metal, oil, and because it's in Virgo, we're emphasizing soybeans. And then also this weekend we have Pluto to the U.S. natal chart. That's where the planets were when the country was founded on July the 4th, 1776. Anytime we have that, we look at stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar, and we also have Mars changing Geo's Mars. That's Geo for the point of view of the Earth, changing signs going into Scorpio for cocoa, hogs, and T-bonds. And then Monday afternoon, 22 afternoon, Neptune will be perigee. Neptune will be closest to the Earth. Neptune is oil. Remember I mentioned Pisces is oil, and Neptune is the ruling planet for Pisces. So that's oil. And then the Monday night, we have Jupiter to the U.S. chart for stocks, T-bond, U.S. dollar. And then Tuesday morning, Mars is going to hit an important point with 0 south latitude. That's a very high, one of my top points. And of course, that's the stock market plus cocoa, hogs, and T-bonds. So I've been doing this about over 50 years now. I started trading using the astrology when I was in college in the early 70s. Made enough money. I got a small inheritance and started trading using astrology. And I made enough money, ended up buying a membership in 1975 on the Chicago Board Options Exchange. I was right out of college, a week out of school in May of 75. I was a member and market maker on the floor of the CBOE. I did that for 12 years, also traded on the Chicago Board of Trade. You can get free stuff from me, free classes, free lessons. First 5 people who contact me by Wednesday, September 24th, you get a free one-on-one class from a 50-year market veteran. Gee, I wonder who that would be. Oh, that's me. Okay. And then you can learn advanced trading methods in a few minutes. And guess what? Learn the important keys to the markets and how you can improve your trading. I keep it real simple. How simple is simple? Nothing I do is over a 5th grade level. Einstein said simplicity is genius. Learn how you can get the fractal forecast, which I just showed you a sample of there. The S&P, I have it for 28 markets for free, potentially. Learn how you can beat AI. Everybody loves AI. But what is the A in AI? Artificial intelligence. I'm using natural intelligence, the cycles of the solar system and the universe. That's Mother Nature. Nobody's going to beat Mother Nature. AI just mimics those cycles. It's always going to be one step behind. We can beat AI and the Wall Street bot traders. email me, please include your name, location, and where you found this offer. My contact information is on the next page. Here we go. I'm in beautiful Naples, Florida, USA. If you're in the USA, you can call me 239-594-3939. That's 239-594-3939. Now, if you'd like to set up a free consultation lesson, you can email me at nwinski@yahoo.com. We can, if you're outside the country, we can set up a session on Teams or whatever you like. So looking forward to helping some of your folks, Jeff. Everybody have a great weekend, and I'm looking forward to helping you.
Norm, that's terrific as always. I really hope people watching these videos realize just how fantastic your track record is. We'll see you back in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.